Hi everybody, this is Mr. Walsh here with different ways to use flipped learning in your classroom, or different ways to see how flipped learning can be used in a classroom. And so let's just get started with some of the different things that are going to happen. Before I get started into some of the different techniques, I did want to make sure that you understood some of the common threads that all of these things have in common. Since I'm recording all of this and posting it on the internet, I think it's important to realize that students can rewatch these videos as often as necessary. And I think that this will allow me to challenge students a little bit more, because I can have higher expectations of their understanding. They're not going to be, if they don't understand something, they're not kind of a slave to finding people to help them out. They can rewatch videos, and they can go to different websites and different curated places on the internet to try and find information about the material. So in that respect, I'm also able to provide greater depth to students. I'm not bound by a 41-minute period or a 84-minute period or a 55-minute period or whatever, however many minutes, to get a point across. I'm able to provide a video. Kids are able to rewatch it as many times as they want. So it's really, I'm able to provide some greater depth, more so than normal in a traditional classroom. Also, I think it's important in the 21st century to provide a curated environment where I can control the chemistry that the students are seeing. I may not be the best chemist in the world. I'm not going to win the Nobel Prize anytime soon. But I do know good chemistry when I see it, and I know bad chemistry when I see it. And I think that that's important. The internet puts everything out there, good and bad, and so I'm able to just filter the things that I know are good, and that gives students the ability to see just the good stuff and what I think should be interested in, or the things that they can look at that go along with what we're learning. And lastly, it's not to be overlooked that if a student is absent, this definitely provides them really no excuse to be behind or to not have their information down, because it's all going to be right here in videos. So I think that these are some common threads to all of these methods, but I've outlined about 6 or 7 methods, and you can see them as we come up. Okay, so let's get started with definitely the good uses of the flipped environment. So the first use is for video lecture. So imagine back in the day when we had really good notes, and even more recently we would take really good notes on PowerPoint. We would go through them, and some of them may have typos and things like that. Well, now I can deliver them electronically and record them. And if I really wanted to, I could put my head in it. And so here I am telling students, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this, and I can point to this. Look, make sure you spell the word developed right. So there's all sorts of neat things that I can do in terms of video lecture. A second use that I could do is I could demonstrate concepts. Now, here we have the webcam on right there. Boop, 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 boop. There's me right here. See, smiling. And so what I could do is I could say, well, here's a glass, and here is soda, and we can go, look, woo, soda fizzes. Why does soda fizz? Because there's dissolved carbon dioxide in there. And I could demonstrate that concept to the students. Or I could talk to the students about what kind of concepts they need to learn from this. And I can say, go experiment, and I can move this around, and I can do all sorts of things. So this is really a flexible way to use flipped learning for demonstrating concepts. Now, for working through sample problems, there's all sorts of things I could do. I could type something, 2 plus 2 equals 4. Or I could take that same problem and I can put my little camera here and I could say, hey, everybody, look, 2 plus 2 equals 4. And we could do that. Envision this being a much more difficult chemistry problem. And so that's another thing. Or I could take this whole thing and make it full screen, and I can go 2 plus 2 equals 4. Hey, that's the right answer, kiddos. Or I can go here and I can draw stuff in here. I can draw stuff in here. 2 plus 2 equals 4. Or I could say, given blah, 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 because technology allows me to do these things. See, there we're smiley. Or you could imagine anything that I can videotape to work through problems. I could, do answer keys to tests. I could work through sample homework problems. I could do just about anything that I would do normally in class individually. I can do individually on a video. So I think that there's a lot of neat things for us to use here when we're working through sample problems. The fourth use that I have figured out is I can use this to tell students how to set up a lab or to even demo a lab. See me in this little corner box I can take and I can show students how to do stuff. Here's my soda. Woo! We can pour it. I'm not going to do that. Or I could say, hey folks, grab a beaker and grab a flask and do, if we take this, we can take and we can pour the yellow liquid right into the flask, or something like that. And now for my next one, describing expectations, I think it'll make a little more sense if I go full screen. So imagine now that instead of giving students a handout of things that they can refer back to. Imagine making a video of all your classroom expectations, grading policies and procedures, and anything also that parents may want to know. Now you have a video, me here looking at you, and it makes it a little more personal instead of just a paper that just gets thrown aside. And it provides a good way for students to go back and look at rules and expectations and things so that they always have me telling you what to do or how you can get information. So going over rules and expectations is probably pretty good idea. And the last thing that I can do, and probably a million other things that I can do, is annotate a video. Let's say there's a video that's going on that maybe demonstrates a really cool policy or property or something, but maybe I want to make my own commentary over the video. So what I have here is a YouTube clip of the Anderson University sodium toss, and you can look it up yourself. There's nothing too horrible on it, but I just want to make sure that students get the good stuff. So I'm going to take myself out of the corner here, right, wherever I am, and I am going to play the video, and then I'm going to annotate it for you. So you'll see these three guys right here. That's a big chunk of sodium. Now sodium reacts with water, and that's their way of being crazy. And look at it. Every time it's doing something, it's exploding. Big bang. And then there's a big piece of sodium that flies off, and there's another one flying up, and that one's exploding, and then that one's going to explode and then bounce back. And so there's a lot of explosions going on here. And so it's really cool. So you can look this video up yourself and you can see all the cool stuff about it, but lots of explosions, and this doesn't happen in our classroom. So in conclusion, this is a lot of fun, and I think that students are going to be more engaged And I also think that this is a recipe for success when there's somebody like me so excited about doing this, and then somebody like students who are very into wanting to learn. So hopefully this is a cool introduction to the different ways that you can flip a classroom, or how flipping works in a classroom, so that you can understand the flipped environment.